Come today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, the Blu-ray is now dead. Microsoft's saying mixed signals and stealing info against your will. General Motors is no longer making a self-driving taxi. Intel Battlemage is finally here, and holy cow, does it make an impact. And the Game Awards show, guess what? Shocker, it actually was a success. All that and more coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or it's 2 a.m. Go to bed already. This is Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. It's only 2 weeks. There's only two. It's what? This week? Next week? Oh no, we have 2 more weeks after. Well, I mean, at the end of, we got what? 10 days left at this point, 9 days left, depending on when you're listening, until the great holiday day. And then there's only 2 full weeks left of 2024. Time is winding down, and there is so much to do. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Meanwhile, though, the tech news does march on. My plan at this point, so everyone knows, the 22nd, that Sunday, is going to be our last normal Eagle Eyes on Tech episode in regards to, actual tech news goes. December 29th is probably going to be a shortened podcast, and it's going to be primarily focused on predictions. If there are some other huge headlines that come out, or some major leaks or something that major, we'll talk about then, but that is the current plan from here on out for the rest of the year for Eagle Eyes on Tech. So everyone knows. Now, with that all said, guess what? I wasn't kidding. The Blu-ray is dead. I mean, it's not dead, but this is a pretty big nail in the coffin. LG has now discontinued all of their UHD Blu-ray and Blu-ray players. They were one of the last major manufacturers of the equipment. Oppo already got rid of theirs and stopped doing it in 2018, Samsung in 2019. LG was one of the big holdouts. This almost, it's a little disingenuous to say it's dead, but this basically kills it, because there's nowhere else for the Blu-ray to go. The last holdout now is Sony, the manufacturer, the pretty much basically the inventor of the Blu-ray. That's it. No one else is left. So what now? It's all digital now, right? Well, this now raises a very interesting question. Okay. First off, what are game consoles going to do? Because as much as a lot of people want to say that disc-driven consoles are dead, by God, there is not an insignificant number of people who buy game consoles that still prefer the versions with the disc. Digital only is not dead at all, especially among the crowd that basically is just straight up saying physical media or death when it comes to game consoles. The main reason being is that in the video game space, the console manufacturer has complete control over how long you hold that media. It works really well on the PC side of things because we have a lot of control over our own software on our computers. You don't on a console. So what's going to happen? Are those consoles going to switch back over to cartridges? Are they going to use solid state, like someone suggested in the chat? Use solid state based cartridges like Nintendo? Are they just going to say tough and go all digital? Unfortunately, probably the latter. But there is also a much smaller segment that is looking at it from a media consumption angle. rather than just a gaming angle. There's plenty of people out there, not many, mind you, but still a decent amount that prefer the physical Blu-rays, the physical discs. What about them? Heck, there was a show on Hulu I tried to go ahead and find just to go ahead and compare the version that was on there to a parody on YouTube. The series was gone off Hulu because this sort of thing happens all the freaking time on streaming services. It's one of their biggest problems. The only answer you had to that before was Blu-rays. What do you have now? Someone in chat said those people go extinct just like headphone jack users. Man, if you think headphone jack users are going extinct, you have not paid attention to my chat, my freaking podcasting chat. The instant I talk about any brand new phone. And today, Oppo announced this phone, which shows a whole lot of features. First thing, does it have a headphone jack? Does it have a headphone jack? Does it have a headphone jack? By God. There's just way too many people that are just like, die hard, I need my headphone jack. I don't know who these people are either. I really don't. You know what? Actually, the next time I have to go into a Best Buy for whatever reason, I'm going to make it my challenge. Assuming I actually have the time to do so. I want to actually try to find a decent pair of wired headphones that are not intended for a studio. Because like I know I can find a wired set. I know I can find like a wired headset for gaming. Like I know that's gonna be easy. I know I can go ahead and find in like the audiophile section something like the AKG over-ear monitors that I use for podcasting. Like I know I can find those. That's no problem. I actually mean a halfway decent set of headphones or earbuds that actually use the 3.5mm jack, because I'm willing to bet the only ones I'm going to find are in like the dollar bin. Like we have just been seeing the wireless earbuds you could very easily swallow, like these freaking, like the ones I actually daily drive. Look at them. They're like a little jelly bean. Like the ones I actually use on a daily basis at work. But God help you if they fall out your ear. That's it. $150 gone. I actually do wonder if there actually is like a good. Someone in chat says they'd maybe use the Raycon earbuds. I'll tell you what. I actually did buy a set of the Raycon earbuds. I don't know if it's just my specific ear or what, but man, they were not a comfortable fit. Like they put way too much pressure on the inside of my ear. It might have been I just had like the wrong insert in. But like they put way too much pressure on the inside of my ear and they fell out all the frickin' time. And I admit, that could just be a me thing. But it's really hard for me to recommend the Raycon earbuds. Like these ones I use, there's no actual like insert into the ear. They just kind of rest in the earlobe. And they come in and out very easily. But they still stay nice and snug while I'm working. And those are just like the Samsung ones. I'll also be really honest, since this is now just 10 minutes of somehow going from Blu-ray to earpods. I'll be perfectly honest. I have not used any of the Apple AirPods. I've never used them. I'll fully admit that. Mostly because the Apple AirPods did not exist when I was on iPhone. And yeah, I just couldn't justify the price. Usually what I actually end up usually using for audio, it's either going to be something like these, if it's just like casual use, not at work. But if I am at work, I'm usually going to be using like a Plantronics like mini on the road ear set. Someone in chat said there's one thing I kind of like about the Apple AirPods did is that they can be used as hearing aids. That's actually gonna be on my predictions list. Is that next year, I'm gonna have to like pin down exactly which manufacturer are gonna do it, but I think that is gonna be the big push to include the software to include software for each of the Android makers of EarPods competitors or AirPod competitors to have their wireless earbuds double as hearing aids. I fully expect, because it's not a very difficult software tweak to do. And I guarantee you, Samsung, OnePlus, nothing. They're looking at it and going, wait, why didn't we do that? Huh. Because like it feels like the biggest no-brainer, right? Yeah, that is one thing that is actually on my predictions list for things that I am going to predict. So we shall see. In any case, getting back to the whole thing, yeah, Blu-rays. They are going the way of the dinosaur. Sony is the last major holdout, but that is that. Now, let's get off phones for a minute and let's talk desktops and laptops, all right? There is one major concern in the desktop space. It's called Windows 11. And oh boy, Microsoft is doubling down, saying that you must have the 2.0 trusted platform module support in your computer. It does not matter if your computer does in fact have crazy high-end specs. It does not matter if your computer can rock 24 cores and 48 threads and rock 64 gigabytes of memory, as well as, you know, an RTX 4060, you know, not to flex or anything, but just saying, if I had to flex, it doesn't matter if you have all this power that could very easily handle all the demands of Windows 11, but because your older system in fact does have a trusted platform module 1.0 and not 2.0, you're effed, and you're basically told that this thing must be sent to a scrapyard, for it is completely obsolete with 24 cores that turbo up to 4 gigahertz. In fact, right now, just running this stream and this podcast is so low, the computer is in power saving mode and downclocked itself all the way down to 2.3 gigahertz. Yeah, running OBS and running this stream and this podcast is such a boring task for this computer. It's just saving power, but it's too weak to handle Windows 11. You know, that's just Microsoft for you. Yeah, it's really annoying, not gonna lie. And the fact they're saying it's non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. You cannot, under any circumstances, install Windows 11 on a computer that doesn't have Trusted Platform Module 2.0. That being said, Microsoft has published a page where they will in fact tell you exactly how to install Windows 11 on a computer that does not have Trusted Platform Module 2.0. Okay, I'm going to include a link to a GoFundMe, this is a joke by the way, that is going to help fund the psychological bill that Microsoft desperately needs to go ahead and diagnose the either schizophrenia or bipolar disorder they are clearly suffering from in all of this, because they are absolutely tweaking out in all of this. What is going on with Microsoft? Microsoft, why? Why are you like this? I like that someone in chat said get a Mac. And all right, here's my challenge for you. You know what? I'm gonna put the Otis on the Apple fanboy. Here, Apple fanboy. Price this out. Price out a Mac that has 48 threads, that clocks up to 3.5 gigahertz turbo, with 64 gigabytes of RAM, and a 2 terabytes of solid state storage, and figure out how to make that happen for the $600 I paid for this rig before I slapped a $300 GPU in it. In fact, we'll just say you get $1,000, but it has to beat this rig in raw specs. Good luck. There. That'll keep the Apple fanboys busy. When you finally have the answer, feel free to go ahead and submit your failure to eaglefalcontech@gmail.com. It'll be fun and exciting. We'll go ahead and list all of your failure at the end of the year episode. Yes, I called your attempt failure because I already know you're not going to be able to do it. You just aren't. There is one thing I know my style of PC... Someone in chat said you only need half their. Oh, no. 64 gigs. None of this weaseling out saying that Apple can run at half the RAM. No. You know you're lying to yourself. You are not going to tell me that because it runs on a Mac, all the programs are going to magically use half the RAM. No, we both know that's a lie. Come on. Apple confirmed it. They went ahead and upped everything to 16 gigs to compete with the rest of the universe. No. 64 gigs. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And no trying to say that an Apple core is equivalent to 3 PC cores or something stupid like that. I like this. I should have just done this like an eternity ago. Just get the Apple fanboy something Chromebook. All right, here. You too, Chromebook fans, here. I will switch your Chromebook when you find the Chromebook that has 24 cores, 48 gigs, 48 threads, 64 gigabytes of RAM, and 2 terabytes of SSD storage, plus an RTX 4060 equivalent for under $1,000. Go. And figure out how it can run all my hardware. You know what? Same treatment to the Chromebook people. Submit your failure to eaglefalcontech@gmail.com. Should just record that and just have it on a soundboard button. In any case. So yeah, Microsoft, you must absolutely 100% have Trusted Platform Module 2.0 hardware. Non-negotiable. You must do this in order to have Windows 11. If you cannot, here's how to get around it. Interesting. I tried to click on the list and uBlock Origin freaked out and completely blocked some tracking nonsense that was going on. That was interesting to have happen live. But yeah, right there. We have official instructions from Microsoft saying how to bypass their requirement that is non-negotiable. What does it mean? Your guess is as good as mine. Because I'm not going to lie, I don't know. Here's what I do know. Remember how I said that Microsoft Recall was going to be the worst thing to ever blight the planet? And it was going to be a terrible system, and it was going to inevitably not do the things they promised that it totally would? You know how Recall said that it would totally be encrypted and no one would ever be able to get your data, and it would never, ever, ever take screenshots that included social security numbers and credit card information or anything like that, and it would be totally fine for feeding the AI? Remember all that? Guys, you're going to be shocked by this revelation. It turns out that all of us crazy computer security paranoid people that wear tinfoil hats and should not be listened to because AI is the future, old man, were right. Who could have seen that coming? Yeah, Recall still captures it. It captures everything. Because of course it does. It's simpler to capture everything, insist it's not, and then gaslight people who just assume, who call this crap out. Guess what? Here's been the next shocker for you. The encryption is going to be crap. The encryption is going to be hot garbage. It is going to be an embarrassment. This should not come as a shock to anyone. But guess what? It is. Everyone's going to go, oh my God, I can't believe this massive oversight happened over at Microsoft. I kept saying again and again and again, I will switch to Linux before I let this feature run on my computer at all. Lo and behold, I've been validated. I'd say I freaking called it, but this felt so freaking obvious to me and anyone else who can fog a mirror and knows how to compute at all that it hardly feels like a prediction. So yeah, my trust for Microsoft is at an absolute low. Their stock price is at an all-time high right. Well, probably not an all-time high, but it's way up there right now. All because they're just like, oh, AI. You want to go ahead and pump up any sort of tech stock right now? All you gotta do is get someone on their board to say the letters AI. And investors are gonna go, oh, that sounds future. That's where money is. Oh, Mo, buy. And I gotta ask, when is the bubble going to pop? Because so far, the developments from AI are all tech demo And still to this day, no bite. And if you are sick of hearing the letters AI, I got bad news for you. CES is right around the corner. And I guarantee you're going to hear the letters AI more than anything else at the Consumer Electronics Show. But you know what? I will still take AI being the focus of talk at CES compared to fake meat. Yeah, I'm still a little annoyed by that. I'm not going to lie. It's still incredibly, incredibly stupid. We're going to go ahead and take our first break here. When we come back, I want to talk about Firefox getting rid of some security features, as well as General Motors no longer looking into the taxi business. Don't go anywhere. We will be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. Meta wants to go ahead and show off that they too can in fact do what Vision OS does, but better. The Quest 3 now includes a seamless Windows 11 integration as an experimental feature, meaning that you can, with your Meta Quest 3, go ahead and use Windows 11. Now you too can look at this in the same way you would the Vision Pro and wonder, but why? Why would you do this? This still seems like an idea that seemed really cool when you watched like the first Iron Man movie for the first time. And you're like, how can we do that? We can do it with VR headsets. That sounds cool. And you do it and you're like, this sucks. Because in the end, all you're doing with this is that you have basically my kind of setup here, but it's more portable because you no longer need a, corner desk with 3 monitors on arms, a keyboard, mouse, and all that. It's all nicely compact in the headset. That's one pro. Here's the con: using it. Freaking using it. Like, the Vision Pro was originally pitched as a production tool. This is also currently being pitched as a production tool. What it really is pretty much what someone said in the chat. It's the most portable, huge screen ever. It's an entertainment tool. It is something to go ahead and watch movies on and just lay back and look like a member of a cyberpunk dystopia as you just stare directly up at the ceiling in your VR headset and a recliner and go, whoa, that's big. And everyone else just assuming that whatever you're watching is just pornographic, even though it most likely is not. You're most likely just watching Avatar 78. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the biggest problem right now with productivity in VR is that no one can figure out what the UI should be for productivity in VR. And I'm not gonna lie, what they have cooking right now in Quest 3 is not it. The reason you're seeing not a whole lot of news about a cheaper Apple Vision is because they are going back to the drawing board and trying to refigure out the UI. I'm not saying this is like some kind of I know a guy who knows a guy and that's definitely what's happening. I'm saying what's obvious. Using this for productivity is trash because the UI is trash. And until they figure out how to get it nailed down and get it flawless and get it good, this kind of idea is just, it's dead in the water. Someone in chat said, let Apple work on the price. Here's the thing though. All right. Let's pretend for a minute the application of the Vision Pro was exactly the same, but cost $500 instead of $3,500. Would you get it? I think for a number of people, the answer would still be yes, but they're going to quickly learn they wasted $500. A lot of the people who did spend $3,500 for the Vision Pro to be an early adopter in this whole thing, many of them admitted just a few weeks after the Vision Pro that they don't use it anymore. it sits on the shelf collecting dust because they just don't have a good use case for it. And those are going to be the kind of people who are far more likely to use it. You went ahead and spent $3,500 on this thing. You want to go ahead and convince yourself you did not just waste $3,500. You have every incentive in the world to rationalize to yourself that, yes, this is a good idea. I'm glad I spent this money. And you can't. Someone in chat said $500 with the software of Quest would be good. Here's the problem. It doesn't have the software of the Quest. That's the weird thing about the Vision ecosystem, is that its focus first and foremost is productivity, which was very, very strange for Apple to go into. And I'll admit, I gave Apple the benefit of the doubt because I know there's some smart people over there. There's some smart people at Apple. They have to be able to figure out a UI sort of thing for this. They must know something that I don't. And unfortunately, the answer is no. No, they actually don't. Right now, the Vision ecosystem is lacking a way to interface with. It's missing UI. Someone in chat actually said that the use case for this type of device, for those that can't set a regular desk for $500, that's too much. Wait, hold up. Use cases for this type of device is those that can't sit as a okay, yeah. All right, I see what they're talking about now. My point with it is still the same. The ability to interact with this thing is incredibly limiting, and it's not there yet. It isn't fully baked. Like, they did a good job with what they have currently in mind. You have the start of a good recipe. The problem is that it's burnt along the edges and it's still raw in the middle. The baking isn't done yet. There is still more work to be done. Someone in chat said this could be good for those who are trapped in a bed or a wheelchair, like Iron Mouse, but still on a big desk. You know, I actually now wonder something. Because the Vision Pro and the Quest, to my knowledge, both use cameras as well as the accelerometer to go ahead and detect where your hands are and those for motion and controls. How well would they work if you're laying perfectly flat as if you are bedridden? How much would it freak out? I actually wonder. Now, this all being said, there is one huge advantage to the Quest 3's Windows 11 integration over the Vision Pro. Well, actually, there's two. There's two huge advantages. One, the Quest 3 is not $3,500. That is big advantage number one. Here's big advantage number two. Windows 11 has developers. Take that, Apple. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know. Maybe Meta will crack this, but maybe Meta will actually figure out a way to go ahead and make this be a viable answer to VR computing for VR productivity. However, I strongly suspect that considering the fact that Meta couldn't figure out how to put legs in the metaverse, the answer is no. I'm just going to go on a hunch there. It seems pretty bleak. That being said, Firefox is making a change to one of their tracking abilities, and it's raising security concerns. Firefox is getting rid of its do not track setting, and it's being replaced with a bait and switch for privacy concerns. For you see, instead of the do not track function, it is now switching to the standard that is used by Chrome that says that you cannot sell my data. Is Firefox selling out? Oh my God. Firefox is selling out, isn't it? Oh my God. Firefox is over. Long live Chrome. Chrome is the answer to our privacy concerns. It's clear as day. Oh God. Mozilla's finally caved in. They're now part of the problem. All right. Have I scared away all the stupid people yet? All right. Let's talk intelligently for a second. First off, this headline is garbage. Shocker. I know. Here's what's actually going on. Firefox had a function that said do not track. The problem is that the do not track feature that Firefox had was asking people not to track. Websites did not recognize the setting and just tracked anyway. So the do not track feature that Firefox had, that they're now getting rid of, was being ignored anyway. So before you go ahead and make a stupid article like, oh my God, they're getting rid of do not track. They're getting rid of it because they didn't do anything. Guys, I'm getting rid of the Windows 10 tablet I had sitting around. Oh, you're getting rid of it because you hate Microsoft. Oh my God, you Microsoft hater. No, I'm getting rid of it because it doesn't work. It's an old thing that no one supports anymore. It doesn't even connect to the internet. No, we're getting rid of it. Bad. It's the same thing here. What they're switching to is a standard that is supported by Google Chrome, that rather than, instead of demanding that websites don't track you, which they're going to anyway, they instead support a more well-known standard that Chrome uses, as well as many other web browsers, because Chrome is everything, that forbids the websites from selling the data they track. You can go ahead and gaslight people into thinking, oh God, Mozilla's caving into privacy. Oh, they're part of the problem now. No, they're just admitting the solution they had that hasn't worked for a long time isn't working, and they are pivoting to an answer that does do at least something. What we don't know at this point is, will Mozilla work on a solution that is more effective than the Chrome method that they are currently pivoting to? That we don't know yet. I'm willing to bet they aren't, just because Mozilla is currently not exactly in the best of financial straits right now. For now, all we can do is wait and see what happens. That's just all there is to it. Meanwhile, though, Google is announcing a new feature you've never heard of. They are announcing AI. I know. I'm shocked too. An AI announcement. Well, it turns out, yes, it is true. Google is announcing Gemini 2.0, their new AI model for the agentic era. I think they might be smelling too much of their own farts. But it's an update to Gemini 2.0. But considering the fact that Gemini 1.0 was just kind of meh, neat. That's really all I got, to be perfectly honest. My opinion for the most part about this is going to be, all right, cool, we'll see what you can do. My philosophy with AI is going to remain pretty much exactly the same. All right? It's going to be very simple. I don't care what the AI company announces. I don't care what your tech demos show. I don't care what you show on stage. I care what the user experience is. I feel that is the only real way to test things. Just like with GPUs and CPUs and any other kind of computer hardware, I don't care what the company shows for graphs, because those can always be skewed and specifically done in a way that benefits them, and often is done exactly that way. AI is so much worse because it took them 500 iterations of trying one specific thing to get the perfect result, and then they show that and go, whoa, look how cool our AI is. Yet you ignore the fact I had to go hit generate 500 times and pay a nickel every single time I hit the word generate. So when all was said and done, I'm out $25. Not cool. Not cool in the least. Now keep in mind, those numbers I just pulled out, I pulled them out of thin air. Do not quote me as saying that AI costs $25 per generation. That is an exaggeration. I just feel I need to clarify that because I kept challenging Chrome users and Mac users earlier today to go ahead and send their recommendations for computers I should buy for under $1,000 that match my current PC specs over at eaglefalcontech@gmail.com, which I fully expect they won't. They're not going to. It's not going to happen. Especially the Mac guys. Good luck finding a 64 gig system for $1,000. That ain't happening. I take that back. It totally will happen. The only problem is that it has to be 64 gigs in storage. And then someone's gonna be like, no, the max SSD is so fast, it might as well be the same speed as your RAM. Shut up. You're being stupid. Being stupider than normal. By the by, here's a fun one for you. Completely shifting gears radically and wildly. You know how the EU, the European Union, has all kinds of regulations solely for the sole purpose of trying to play gotcha with large tech companies and then issue massive fines to fund themselves? And it just seems like one massive racket. And then a lot of those things just kind of see like, I wonder if that's actually supposed to help people, or if that actually is more of just something they put in to make sure that someone's going to pay. Guess what? The European Union's executive body is under scrutiny now after they found out that a micro-targeted ad campaign the commission ran back in 2023 violated the European Data Protection Act. Whoops. Honestly, this whole thing I find hilarious. And a lot of the EU people who keep tabs on this sort of thing are going to be very interested to see, like, well, do you hold yourselves to the same standard that you would hold, say, you know, Facebook, Twitter, Google, or any of the other big boys to? Or are we going to find out that, in fact, the real answer is the fact they're not going to do anything? Nothing at all. Zip, zero, nada. All we can do is wait and see how that ends up going down. I'm willing to bet nothing's going to happen to them. Or no. Actually, no. We need to give the dumber answer. You know what's going to happen? They will be suspended with pay. Would you really be surprised? I wouldn't. Not in the least. General Motors has now killed off its self-driving taxi business. So here's what ended up happening. A while back, General Motors bought Cruise. Cruise was a small startup in the Silicon Valley, because of course it was, that was developing a robo-taxi. Electric vehicle, self-driving, all that fun jazz. General Motors went ahead and bought them because they saw robo-taxis as the future. This is way back when it seemed like Tesla was going to go ahead and have something out back before the pandemic. Now, as far as robo-taxis, Tesla showed off a demo of the world's coolest taxi, but we don't know when it will come out or ever or anything about it. And then wondered, where's the home-owned version of it? And Tesla seems to just be like, never, LOL. And we're just left going, but why? Why would you do that? Someone in chat said they didn't show off a demo. Oh no, I want to hear the punchline of this one. What did they show off? They showed off the CES equivalent of a sketch on a napkin. I would still call it a demo. I would call it a demo because it was in fact a physical product. They did have a physical car there. Who knows how much they faked as far as its brains, but it didn't. I would actually say like what they showed off is very similar to what we see at CES. Now, we also do see actual sketches on a napkin where it is just videos shown off at CES of what they do have planned. That might as well be a sketch on a napkin. But I mean, there was a physical, cab at the last Tesla event. What they didn't show, and I would say is in fact a sketch on a napkin, is the Tesla van. That 100% might as well have been chicken scratch on a napkin. Wasn't there another thing they showed off too? Now that we're ripping on Tesla robo taxi event. What else was there? There was the robo taxi, the van that looks suspiciously like a tram. Wait, was there anything else? I could have swore there was a third thing. No, it was just the robo taxi and the van. The robo taxi actually is a product, or not a product, a demo. When it will be a product, they say 3 to 4 years. I'm sorry, they say 2 to 3 years. I say 12 to 13 years. I feel like with Tesla, any sort of due date they expect, just add 10 years to it. We're going to go ahead and push out the newest sports car in 3 weeks. All right, so 10 years in 3 weeks. Got it. Actually, now that I think about it, Has Tesla even announced anything as far as the Roadster? Like, we have heard nothing about the new Roadster, have we? Because, like, they were implying that thing was going to be available around the same time as the semi-truck. And we now have the semi-truck in limited quantities, but it's slowly running out there, for better or for worse. And the Roadster is just crickets. Someone in chat said definitely for worse. I'm willing to keep an open mind. A very, very open mind. No, it's for worse. But getting back to the point, General Motors is just straight up done with their self-driving taxi business, which makes me wonder, again, getting back to Tesla, how far out is Tesla's actual taxi? Because right now, the whole self-driving thing for their cars, that seems to just be kind of on again, off again from time to time, doesn't seem to be going much of anywhere. You kind of just see like some demonstrations like, oh man, this worked flawlessly. Oh, look at that. It dodged the fire hydrant. Woo. And other times it's just, oh no, it's weird. I don't know what to say about it, you know? Someone in chat asked who isn't done with self-driving taxis that isn't dependent on cameras and, you know, the actual LiDAR and not running over child-sized mannequins. You know what the worst part is? Self-driving taxis have been out of the news for so long, and only like come up every here and there for like a quick headline. I can't even name another freaking robo-taxi company. I want to say Waymo is one, but that also could be a traffic app. I think Waymo is still out there. I want to say Waze, but I'm like 99% certain that is only a traffic app. Tesla is doing one, of course. We were just spending a lot of time on that, but Tesla is also high on their own farts. So, you know, you should take their word with 32 ounces of salt, which may or may not be a lethal dose. I'm sure there's a bunch of others that I just can't think of off the top of my head. Like right now in the electric car world, a lot of things in the electric car world right now feel like they're on ice. Like it has cooled down significantly. As a lot of electric lines that were put out are finding out the sales are too low. And a lot of them are trying to figure out why. And the answer is, as I've said for quite some time, it's the infrastructure. It's easy to say, oh, you can just charge at home. But it's hard to go ahead and get people to say, you should pay 60 grand for an electric vehicle and then hire an electrician for another who knows how many grand, depending on your area, to wire up your garage with 240 volt and then pay an additional several $100s for the charger and the installation of that. Like, it's a hard sell. And then anyone who's in an apartment like I am, you're just effed. You have no future. None. Zip, zero, nada. What are you going to do? Run an electric kit? What are you going to do? Plug in 4 different 110 outlets? Run them all the way out to your spot, either outside or in the garage, and put together some kind of Frankenstein monster of electrical cables to go ahead and charge your car? No, you're going to go ahead and try to charge at some other electric charging or some fast charging place. And a lot of places just don't have one. The closest one I have to me, because I've actually thought about this, what I would do in my sort of situation, or if I was, you know, switch to electric, if I could afford it, which I can't, I would have to probably over 3 or 4 days make a trip to Walmart. And I'm not going to lie, I don't like the idea of heading down to Walmart to charge my vehicle and then hang out at Walmart for 30 minutes. That's not attractive, like at all. Oh, that's fine. You can go and grocery shop down at Walmart. I don't want to grocery shop at Walmart. Are you kidding me? I've got better and cheaper options. And a lot of times at the same place. That, and you know, I'm also kind of like out. I'm also like kind of just out there. So it's like a place like Walmart. You know what you're gonna see a lot of? You're gonna see a lot of the weirdos, the people who just like don't want to be seen at all, and it's just uncomfortable. It's just weird. Yeah, it's just, someone in chat actually put up a good reason as to what in my case, what would be more economical. And that's true. Get one installed at work. That actually would be more economical in my specific case. Actually, you know what? It probably wouldn't, for only one reason. I swear, every time I go to work, someone took my spot. Like half the time, someone is parked in my spot. And I'm just like, whatever. I'll just take this spot and just not gripe about it and just get to work. I got a lot to do. This isn't complaining about my spot being taken, just isn't worth my time. So yeah, GM getting out of self-driving taxis. I think today is just the day of distractions. So we're going to distract you by going on a break. And when we come back, I want to talk about Meta and what is going on with, wait a minute. Nope, I lied. We're not going to talk about that at all. We're going to talk about Reddit's new feature as well as what is going on with TikTok. Don't go anywhere. We will be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. I want to quickly address this. I don't have any intention of like going into length on this. One story that was going kind of viral in mainstream media was unidentified flying objects in New Jersey. And everyone was saying that it's a new military type of drone. And much to the surprise of anyone who knows how these sort of things go, I want to present to you this chart of all the various drones that were identified in the New Jersey skies. As you can see, we have a wide variety of drones and one Iranian mothership that all look very suspiciously like actual normal aircraft. That's pretty much the punchline of this whole thing, is that at this time, just about every single unidentified drone was in fact just aircraft, normal flippin' aircraft. It is wild that so many people gaslit themselves into thinking they found something when it was in fact just normal aircraft. I just want to know, all right, did they recently add something to the New Jersey water? Was there just like a memory, like did the Men in Black come over with a neuralizer, sneak in a flash of the memory eraser that made everyone forget what aircraft is during like a thunderstorm, and people just forgot that aircraft exist? This was the wildest thing to me, because all of them were just like, oh, it's a secret military drone. And I'm just like, it's a secret military drone. Why does it appear to be using the exact same sort of FAA required lights that we see on normal aircraft? You don't understand, the lights go away right when I try to look at it. And then also recently today, I don't have the tweet anymore because it was too stupid to keep, but someone tweeted that now the drones are spraying something showing, you guessed it, contrails. All right. Hey, Canada, would you like to buy a New Jersey? We'll get you a good deal on it. Great deal, great price for this fresh New Jersey. We're done with it. You can have it. You think they'll go for that? No? Okay. Let's just not talk about Reddit answers, because that is a thing that is about to happen. Reddit realized that Yahoo answers are no longer a thing. Thus, we should turn to Reddit to go ahead and bring Yahoo answers out, but have it be actually good. So you too can easily get answers and have the answers be upvoted and downvoted by the community for maximum accuracy. Look, I hate to break it to you. This is going to be a massive disappointment. All right. Because first off, Reddit already does this. Reddit already has a feature where people who have questions, ask them in the subreddit, get answers, and then the most recommended answers already get upvoted. We already have this. It's called Reddit. And second, if your goal is in fact to compete with the late Yahoo answers, I have terrible news for you, Reddit. Nobody went to Yahoo Answers to actually get answers. Nobody ever went to Yahoo Answers because they really wanted to know if they were pregnant. They never went to Yahoo Answers to find out how to burn a Luigi board. Nobody cared on Yahoo Answers how is Babby form. They went there to laugh at how is Babby form and am I pregnant and where can I buy a WoW WEG board? Do I have to order it from Amazon or can I buy it from a vegan? And the people who actually did go to Yahoo Answers, actually seeking real answers, they were beyond help anyway. I mean, I'll admit, I for one would welcome a Yahoo Answers competitor. 100% I would welcome a Yahoo Answers competitor simply because I too would like to know how to get my girl pregnant. You can't even say these with a straight face. I would love to see a new forum area where the dumbest questions to ever blight the planet are asked with the most amount of spelling errors possible. I miss that with Yahoo Answers. It was a real form of entertainment. Now, the real answer for why they're doing this is exactly as someone in chat said. Or, actually, wait. No, it's not exactly as someone in chat. Someone in chat said this is clearly because Google realized Reddit's data is set is poison and Reddit needs a new data set, but let me tell you it's not going to work. You want to know the real reason why they're doing this? Here's the real reason why they're doing this. The answer, of course, if you haven't figured it out, is AI. Because the answer is always AI. But the reason this is AI is that it makes curating this information for AI that much easier. However, you know what I can count on Reddit to do once they realize that this is, in fact, to power AI? I can count on Reddit to do what B does best. I can count on Reddit to go ahead and tell you to eat an Ouija board every day to help ward off ants. I can count on Reddit to answer the question to test your pregnancy, apply a Beanie Baby directly to the forehead. I can count on Reddit to answer and upvote the dumbest answers known to man, specifically to sabotage AI. Because that's kind of how done with Reddit the Redditors actually are with the way that their ownership has been. I'm just saying, if you have a headache, just apply the bun directly to the face. That is just exactly how it should be done. 100%. Meanwhile, though, TikTok is in limbo right now. Here's how things are going. All right. Right now, there is a law in effect that bans TikTok next year. I want to say either in January or February in the United States. Period. End of story. Well, not period, but it makes that TikTok cannot be installed on new devices. If TikTok was already there, you can still use it. But the way the ban is, no new devices can have it. No new installs of TikTok can happen. As far as what happens on the desktop, I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'm assuming it would just be blocked. Unless TikTok is sold, the US division of TikTok is sold for US ownership. The thing is that this ban was put in place under the old administration. There is now a new administration coming in, and no one is 100% sure what is going to happen, because the administration that is coming in is not a favorite of China at all, but they have said things positively about the way TikTok is handling itself. So it's a little kind of in the air, especially since there's some political strong arm tactics going on, but this is a tech podcast, not a political podcast. We want to focus strictly on what the future of TikTok is going to be. That being said, there are currently some protests going on as TikTok is currently trying to ask the Federal Appeals Court to Well, they're saying bar the enforcement of the potential ban until Supreme Court review. What they're really looking for is what's referred to as a stay. They're looking for a stay as they demand that the Federal Appeals Court or the Supreme Court review the law. So if you're worried about TikTok, first off, I need you to follow the following instructions. All right. If you're actually legitimately worried about TikTok, okay, stand up. All right. Give a good stretch. All right. Arms over your head. Nice, good stretch. Oh yeah, that feels good. All right, now stand up. Go to your front door. All right, put your coat, put your shoes on. Okay. Just step outside real quick. All right. Take a deep breath of that fresh air. And now I need you to take your hand, apply it directly to the ground. You are either going to be touching snow or you're going to be touching grass. And just hold it there for a bit. If it's snow, take it away because it's going to be cold. Okay. But if it's still grass, just keep it there. Just pet it gently. Okay. You are communing with nature. If it's dirt, move your hand away. You don't want to touch dirt. That's how you get a dirty mind. Just go ahead. Pet the grass. Pet the grass. Okay. All right. There. Good job. All right. You needed that. Trust me. Okay. So we're kind of in the mode right now of trying to figure out what is going to happen with TikTok. Oh my God. I just looked at the signs for this protest. The first one right on the front. TikTok changed my life for the better. It did not. I guarantee you 100%. If TikTok changed your life for the better, you have a very strange life or you are very delusional. Because I know there are influencers that do make a living off TikTok. You are in the very much minority. And quite frankly, you need to take a lesson from the rest of the influencers. Do not put all your eggs in the TikTok. You especially should not put all your eggs in the TikTok basket. Because I've seen the kind of money-making schemes that go on TikTok. You do not want to be associated with that at all. No. Bad. And we have two guys that have signs that say, TikTok, help me grow my business. I want to know what your business is. That the brain rotten viewership of TikTok help grow your business. Because man, anytime I try to find something to find a trend on TikTok, I find nothing other than just useless reposts. It is awful. Plain Jane awful. Oh well. Good luck. Good luck, TikTok. I could care less about your future, to be perfectly honest. I really don't care. In other news, though, let's actually get to things that do matter. Let's talk about Intel. Intel had a very interesting week. Very interesting. First off, Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger is out. Just gone, straight up. I think we might have actually even talked about this. Did we talk about this last week? I feel like we talked about this last week. Someone in chat says we have not talked about this week. All right. Pat Gelsinger is out of Intel. And here's the thing with him, right? He was hired on, well, actually, he was promoted from within. He was an engineer and was promoted up to CEO back in like 2019, I want to say. I want to actually see if it even says when he started in this. It actually does not. But Pat Gelsinger he has not had a very long tenure as CEO. And in fact, he oversaw a few shifts in Intel. The shift to be more focused on local fabrication of their chips and be less reliant on TSMC, to go ahead and invest more in GPUs, to go ahead and start working on the ARC Intel dedicated GPUs, the switch to the big little architecture. There's a lot he was looking over, and the unfortunate thing is that they have not bore fruit yet. The fabs are not running at full capacity yet. There are still very much growing pains for the fabrication process for making their own chips. The big little architecture is running into some snags. They currently just got through a major shift had a major problem with 2 generations of chips before the big switch to Big Little. And on top of that, Intel Arc Alchemist, their first generation of Intel Arc, launched with the loudest thud that could possibly happen, being considered dead on arrival, and slowly patched itself to being usable. All right. He already had a lot of problems going in, as someone in chat just mentioned, but there were not a whole lot of solutions yet that he was showing. Like, his tenure as CEO has not bore fruit yet. But here's the thing. Do you really think that he was given enough time? Like, he's been at the CEO helm for not that long. I actually want to quickly Google this now because this is driving me insane. Oh, wow. It's even shorter than I thought. From February 2021 to December 2024. Oh, wow. They didn't give him enough time. There is no way. No. Now, you also notice the language I'm using. I'm saying that they didn't give him enough time. They're saying that he retired. I don't believe he retired. This sounds more and more like they encouraged him to, they voluntold him to retire, is the energy we're kind of feeling from all of this. Like, we all feel that he was not given a fair chance at all. He was told, you got to get out. You got to leave. You're done. But it's not like he was fired and lost any sort of benefit he was going to get. I mean, he's still getting his CEO treatment going out. But man, less than 3 years? Whew, that's rough. That's rough. That is really, really rough. Oh, well, what can you do? So now what? Well, an interim CEO has been picked, and we're going to be hearing more down the road as far as what Intel has planned for hiring a new CEO. But I just went ahead and went over a whole lot of L's. The last generation of Intel CPUs was a dud. It may hold fruit down the road with a brand new architecture, but the current generation of CPUs out of Intel are a joke compared to what the competition is putting out. The 2 generations before that are defective and should not be used, which means your best product is 4 generations old. That is an eternity in the computer world. For a brand new part to buy 4 years old, you're not doing that. Not unless the price is very, very low. Not unless you're like a big, big budget hunter. But that is your best option in the CPU space. That's not good. Your enterprise division is shrinking more and more as AMD is just putting out monolithic, multi-chipped products out there. We're talking now close to what is the biggest AMD EPYC CPU now? Some huge number. So your latest version of AMD EPYC is 5th generation. You know what? Actually, I want you to guess. What do you think the highest core count in the server space is for AMD EPYC? Highest core count. Someone said 1024. It is not quite that high. Keep in mind, most desktops are still 16 cores. 128, someone said. What if I told you 128 is low? The highest core count that AMD has in their server CPUs is 192, doubling their previous 96 core CPUs. That means if you got a dual AMD EPYC system in a server, it could have 384 cores on one server. That's not good when Intel's current Xeon chips currently cap out at what, 54 cores? Intel's so embarrassed I can't even find a list. Oh, there we go. Apparently 144 cores actually. Intel actually is higher than I thought. I thought Intel was actually still back down in the 50s. So they're getting up there. They're getting up there in core count. Not well, but they're getting up there. My point is, besides comparing core counts between AMD and Intel and showing that AMD is crushing it on all fronts. Intel needs a win. They need a win badly. Ladies and gentlemen, Intel quite possibly has one of the most important wins of the year. They have a win, and it is a huge, huge win, not for enterprise, not for business, but for the average consumer. The independent reviews for the Intel Arc Battlemage 580 GPU are out. It was marketed as an RTX 4060 killer. And while it might have a little bit of subpar performance in older legacy games, while its power consumption is a little higher and a little more fluctuating than its direct competition, performance per dollar, I mean, let's just assume that the B580 costs the same amount as the RTX 4060. It beats the RTX 4060 almost across the board. Some areas it's lower, but overall, it is a better buy than NVIDIA's lowest end current GPU. Here's what's more insane. The NVIDIA RTX 4060 currently, as an entry-level card, is kind of insulting. The price of it is anywhere from $300 to $400. The Intel Arc B580 is $250. Ladies and gentlemen, budget PC gaming is finally back. For far, far, far too long, AMD and NVIDIA both, ever since, even before COVID, since what, 2018? NVIDIA has been jacking up the price more and more and more and more because they recognized they had a monopoly. AMD just rode up there with them. They both just continued to insist that their one computer part should be as expensive as an entire game system from the console world. It was getting to the point where it was actually killing the PC building hobbyists, especially as inflation started taking its role. The price of everything goes up. The price of your computer components go up even higher because NVIDIA feels they can get away with it. And AMD is just riding along because they feel like they can. The price just keeps going up and up and up and up. And a tier of card that used to cost $150 is now $300 and $400. You used to be able to get a near top tier card for $400. Now that's almost entry level. That's near entry level. It's insane. $400 you get a PS4, you can get a PS5 without the optical drive. And that's the entry level card. It's insane. And you know what's even better? Intel's going to be releasing a B570 soon as well. A shaved down version of this card that is going to cost less. Folks, building a PC on a budget could be an option again. Holy freaking smokes. This is not only the win that Intel needed, it is the win that PC fans have needed. Because now it means you can get more for less. And before you go, oh, but that means I have to go with an Intel card. I don't know how I feel about going with Intel. It's not really that tested. It's all brand new and it doesn't have some of the features I like. You know what the thing is though? This is now a successful product that AMD and NVIDIA both have to acknowledge. They have to compete with it. Because I'll tell you this right now. If you are just gaming, more current titles, you're not trying to do like firing up a legacy game or anything like that, this is the card to get. If you're on a tight budget, this is the card to get. No question about it. You're saving yourself almost $150. That's $150 more dollars you can put towards your CPU, your motherboard, your case, a keyboard, a mouse, a monitor, something, rather than just having it be burned. If you're trying to stream with the card, the Intel Arc might not be the best way to go. We'll have to see as more tests come down, how the encoders work. Right now, I believe the Intel Arc Battlemage cards only support AV1 encoding, which right now Twitch does not support. So you're either going to have to use NVIDIA to use their NVENC encoder, or you have to spend more money on a CPU and use CPU-based encoding. Not that, I would know anything about that. What you'd have to use for CPU-based encoding. I don't know, something like this. Whole bunch of cores. You don't even have to use something like this. This is overkill. I cannot stress enough. This is massive. And I, for one, welcome the Intel B580 to the GPU landscape. And, well, AMD and NVIDIA both have new GPUs they're going to be announcing during CES. They can announce all the $1,000 GPUs and the super high end all they want. But the thing is that not a whole lot of people are eager to go ahead and spend that money right now, because no games are around to take advantage of that. And there's not a compelling reason to right now. Maybe one thing if there's a new console around the corner, but there isn't. Price to performance right now is king. And Intel, for the first time in a while, is smart enough to realize they have to go that route. And I, for one, am happy to see it. We're going to take our last break here. When we come back, I want to talk about the Game Awards, because there actually is quite a bit of interesting stuff to talk about from there. And also, you should just give up on your job. We'll get into why. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. Here's a weird one for you. Some early reports are saying that Valve may in fact be working on a direct competitor to the NVIDIA Shield of all things. So the theory here is that Valve may be working on a set-top box that is solely for playing light games or streaming games from a local machine. A concept they have never done before on any product that they want you to remember. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Yeah, they did this before. I don't blame you if you forgot, but they had a device called the Steam Link. I'm pretty sure I have one or two of them on my shelf that I bought for $1. Like, the device was interesting on paper, but it wasn't well received, to say the least. So the fact that they're at this again is interesting. Now, one working theory is the fact that it is using apparently the AMD Lilac, which may in fact hint at the fact this thing might actually have some decent hardware on board, something possibly equivalent to what the Steam Deck has, so it can run more stuff locally. And that would be a good improvement if you're going to go ahead and try a Steam Link 2. But if it's supposed to be just like the NVIDIA Shield, I fear you're dead on arrival. I really do. Now, we'll have to wait and see how this goes, but it's interesting that this is a move that Valve is doing. And in fact, I would almost recommend more that Valve instead focus on trying to just get SteamOS out there. Because we saw before on the first iteration of SteamOS that there were manufacturers willing to try and make small gaming consoles and put them out there. There were legitimate attempts at the product. And right now, SteamOS definitely seems like it would be a pretty big success, But I don't know. I guess at this point, we'll have to wait and see. Someone in chat says that no one is competing with the Shield except maybe Apple TV. I wouldn't even okay. Apple TV, as far as like a game console sort of thing, that is Apple smoking too much apple juice. I'll just say that much right then and there. Apple trying to hope that the Apple TV is a gaming console is delusional at best, would be the way I would describe that. Like, it is not good at all. But, you know, Apple is welcome to do whatever they want. Apple's just kind of like, no matter how you look at it, Apple is just kind of a weird company in the fact that they have such a loyal fan base that they could put out the most titanic piece of garbage that ever blighted the planet and it would just not succeed at anything that it does, and people would still buy it, and there would still be a fan base for it. And if you don't believe me, I want to remind you that the Vision Pro exists. Ta-da! And also that the Mac G4 Cube also exists. Although, unironically, that actually was a decent computer, not gonna lie. It just was way ahead of its time and also crazy expensive. In other news, I have good news. Ubisoft has fixed one of the issues that it had with Avatar and Outlaws on the Windows 11 update. So now those games can now be properly installed and played. Anyway, let's move on to the Game Awards. The thing that people actually might care about. This year's Game Awards was interesting. First off, it was the 10-year anniversary. I can't believe we have had 10 years of the Game Awards stumbling over themselves and falling flat on their face. And honestly, this year when it came to the Game Awards, might be their best year ever. Like, unironically, they did a really good job. You may not want to admit it. I know plenty of other people that don't want to admit it. But all in all, for what it is, which is an award ceremony in which video game publishers bribe voters to go ahead and vote for them for best categories and then walk up and take an award and then pleasure themselves on the stage and then leave while you're fed a whole bunch of ads disguised as world premieres. They did a really good job. I'm sorry, was that too on the nose for you? Was that a bit too real? Look, at least we didn't have like some weird kid go up there and try to congratulate former Rabbi Bill Clinton or however the heck that was. That was still that was special and a half, let me tell you. All in all, though, let's quickly go over the Game Awards. All right. First things first, we did get a bunch of trailers. We saw a brand new IP in the form of Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet from Naughty Dog, which is currently already getting criticism for their main character design. Seeming to have no care about their appearance, I think is the best way to put it. But also seems to have some interesting design choices in being kind of late 80s, early 90s, like kind of space punk sort of thing out there. Someone in chat said it's an African-American woman. No, it's not that. It is not the fact that it's just a minority. It is the build choice, the shaven head choice. There's a lot of choices that were made that are interesting. I'm not going to say they're bad, but they are interesting. And I don't blame people for not liking it. It's an interesting choice and we'll have to see it. But to kind of sum it off as, oh, it's a minority character. Have you never seen a minority character? That's the bad take. That is a bad take. I'm sorry it is. Because that is just trying to dismiss some criticism that then just trying to say, oh, their opinion's invalid because race. That's the wrong take. It is. Still, I'm curious to see how it goes. I'm curious to see more of Intergalactic, because what we saw was not a lot. We saw a new DLC from Elden Ring and know very little about it. We saw some of Witcher 4, and I'm not gonna lie, I already forgot what was in Witcher 4. We've seen I'm gonna move on. I'm just gonna move on. The Shadow Labyrinth from Bandai was shown. I don't even know what to call the Udia gen design game because it didn't have a title. It didn't have a project name. We did have a Okami sequel announced. Doesn't even have a name. It's just Okami sequel. We did see a new trailer of Borderlands 4. I have an opinion about Borderlands 4. All right. Most of these games is just kind of, all right, we'll wait and see. Let me tell you about Borderlands 4. All right. I have been a fan of the Borderlands series. Loved 1, loved 2 even more. Borderlands 3 was a disaster. An absolute storytelling disaster. Mechanically was a mess. Additional features trying to extend gameplay was boring. It is the one Borderlands game I bought one piece of DLC for just to give it an honest shake. And it is the one Borderlands game, including this pre-sequel, that I have not maxed out a character on. That is how much of a failure Borderlands 3 is in my book. Borderlands 4, the trailer they showed, it told me one thing and one thing only. Cell shading is dead. The one thing that Borderlands had going for it the whole time was that it had a unique art style, that they went for like this cartoonish, cell shaded kind of look. That's how it made itself stand out amongst all its other competitors. It is gone in the trailer for 4. I remember when we were actually covering the Game Awards live on stream, someone in chat said, oh, do we really need a Borderlands 4 game? And I didn't say anything at the time because I was focused on the game I was playing, plus covering the Game Awards, plus, you know, talking with my raid teammate and co-host at the time, kind of, sort of, but not really. I didn't comment on it. Right now, the Borderlands franchise needs Borderlands 4 to not suck. This game needs to be good for Gearbox's future. Yes, Gearbox does need to put out a Borderlands 4, and it needs to not suck, because if it does, they are done. Because what else is Gearbox going to make? What, Duke Nukem Forever 2? Try to go ahead and publish some other thing they go ahead and do sometimes that doesn't catch a whole lot of steam? Gearbox basically is the Borderlands studio. It's all they do. And they have been bad at it ever since 2. 2 was the last good one they put out. Pre-sequel was meh. And then 3 was a failure. Someone in chat says they could get rid of Randy Pitchford. They do. Pitchford is bad for the company. I am not ever going to defend Randy Pitchford. He is terrible at what he does. Anyway, there's my opinions of Borderlands 4. Wanted to get that out there. Because I'll tell you what, I've been playing off and on during what little free time I have, Borderlands 2 again, and man, that game still holds up. And 3 just fills me with sadness. It is comical. Got a trailer for Turok Origins, a new Ninja Gaiden game, Split Faction, Onimusha, Virtual Fighter 5. I mean, all in all, good things being announced here that are pretty good. Project Century, which I already forgot what it was about. Indie game called Stage Fright. I'm going to be honest. We saw very little of Stage Fright. I want to see more of Stage Fright. Stage Fright was a game that they showed off, and they kind of showed co-op, chained together kind of split screen puzzle solving in like a platforming sort of aspect. I want to see more of what they can do with this concept. It looks really interesting. We saw a total of 7 seconds of Sonic Racing Crossworlds that may or may not become something. Mafia Old Country, Dispatch, Thick as Thieves, Slay the Spire 2 was announced very early in the thing, and that actually might be one of the biggest things announced there for a lot of people. Some game rematch. Oh, I remember Rematch now. Rematch, the game that made you just go, so it's just FIFA. Outer Worlds 2, Move Away. I guess I'm now committed just to talking about all the games that were announced, because I'm trying to find like the last game I really have a strong opinion about. Celesta 2, Steel Paws, which looked like it was made by Power World devs, but it's not. Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game, which I don't have a whole lot of hope for that one based on what I've heard early on, but I honestly don't know. Midnight Murder Club, Kyora, which I confused for Terraria at first. Double Dragons game, a lot of people are really excited for that. The First Berserker, Dungeon and Fighter, Crimson Desert. I don't know why Final Fantasy Rebirth is in the list. There it is. That's the one I want to talk about. Catly. Oh boy, Catly Catly had like a unreasonable amount of time at the Game Awards. I didn't think too much about this at the time when it was shown off, but like Catly was shown off as kind of a AAA open world cat-based game, and it just showed like very overly fluffy cats and not a whole lot else, with a very strange art direction that I couldn't put my finger on at the time. And well, this kind of explains a lot. This is what the Steam listing is now for Catly, with a release date to be announced. It says, and I quote, a cat open world with beautiful cats, period, hyper realism, action, cuddle, speed, island fashion, dream show, robots, plants, -- all with and via cats. What did I just read? I would say this description sounds AI generated, but this sounds more like this was made with your phone's autocomplete function. You know that one, right? Where you start typing a thing and then you just keep hitting the middle button for predictive text for what your next word is going to be. Someone in chat said it's the meta tag list. It's not. It's the description. The actual tag list is somewhere else. It could be they were dumb and put the meta tag list in the description, but yikes. People have actually looked into this super authentic developer. It does turn out you'll never guess why the game looks so weird. I'll give you a hint. It starts with 2 letters. It is only 2 letters. Yeah, it's AI. It's all AI. Most of the game is AI generated. And in fact, the developer was involved in NFT sales and crypto grifts. Don't pre-order this game. Don't pre-order Catly. I didn't know what to make of the game when I first saw it. It looked very weird and just very odd, but it's now very clear they got a spot in the Game Awards with crypto grift money. That's how they were able to afford the trailer spot. And when push comes to shove, it is very difficult for me to look at this game as anything but yet another grift of some kind. Anyway, going through the list, Path of Exile 2, that was already announced. Fragpunk, Killing Floor 3, I'm pretty sure was already out. Steel Hunters, Black Frost, The Long Dark, Tekken 8, now with Clive, Splitgate 2, Mecha Break, Helldivers 2. I accidentally clicked on a thing. Now they got their engagement, and now my list has completely reset, and it's going to take me forever to get through it all again. Never mind, it didn't take me long at all. Actually, I think that's it. Oh yeah, there was a Squid Games game announced, as well as Monster Hunter Now, and The Last of Us 2 remastered. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and a new Dave the Diver game. Someone in chat asked, yes, Intergalactic was the first thing I mentioned. Intergalactic, I'll say it again here. There are some interesting choices they made, and I'll need to say more. I'll need to see more before I make any sort of judgment. Like, and it's gonna be the same thing with like a lot of these. Like, a trailer can only show so much, and what really matters in the game is the gameplay. But I mean, like, if you go ahead and like put out something out there that even the non-gameplay functions kind of just make you go, ugh. Like with Catly, where it's just massive AI fuzzballs with psychedelic rainbow eyes, it does kind of make you go, don't know about that. Someone in chat says it's Naughty Dog. They make feminism. I'm surprised you're surprised. I'm surprised they did it this badly. I expected better. You can say I shouldn't be surprised. I am. They could have done a much better design with the character, and it is a concern. That's my take right now. Am I saying it's dead in the water because of it? No. Are there any other redeeming factors of it? Of course there are. It's just an interesting decision. I think that's everything I actually have to say about the Game Awards, because for the most part, the awards pretty much went about what you'd expect. I actually want to see real quick. Did the article like very quickly grad? I didn't check to actually see if they actually had any of the awards or if it was literally just all trailers. I think it actually was just all trailers. Dang it. That would be my luck in my haste to grab something for the trailers for the Game Awards. Oh, never mind. There's a link right at the top because I'm blind that talks about the Game Award winners. The actual winners are, you could probably guess them. You honestly probably could. There's an esports section. Almost nobody cares about that. Content Creator of the Year apparently was Queso. I've never heard of them. Most anticipated game, Grand Theft Auto 6. No surprise there. Best adaptation, Fallout. You know what the best adaptation category really showed me in hindsight? Holy smokes, there's a lot of good adaptations right now. Because like the Tomb Raider one, yeah, that wasn't that great. Yakuza Like a Dragon was pretty good. Fallout was really good. Arcane was really good. Knuckles, I don't know if there's actually a series called Knuckles or they're just talking Knuckles from the current Sonic movies. Like the current iteration of live action Sonic is killing it right now. But Fallout winning it, yeah, they're up there. They're definitely up there. Best multiplayer game, Helldivers 2, not really that surprising. Best sports racing game, no one. I'm kidding. EA Sports FC 2025 won. The real winners here are the people who don't play sports games. Best sim or strategy game went to Frostpunk. Best family game went to Astrobot. That's not too surprising, though you can make an argument for Super Mario Party Jamboree, but it was going to be Astrobot. Tekken 8 won Best Fighting Game, no surprise. Best RPG, Metaphor ReFantazio. There was a bit of concern that maybe Elden Ring might squeeze out with that. It did not. I mean, but for me, it was either between FF7 Rebirth and Metaphor. It was going to be one of those two, and it was Metaphor. That is exactly how it went. Best action adventure game, Astrobot won. That's a little bit of surprise, but then again, like the rest of the competitors were Prince of Persia, Silent Hill, Star Wars Outlaws, and Echoes of Wisdom. Doesn't feel like a very strong roster there for best action adventure game. It feels like we could do better. Best action game went to Black Myth Wukong. Not too surprising there. Best VR AR game, it doesn't matter. Nobody has an AR headset. Best mobile game went to Balatro. No surprise there at all. Best indie game, Balatro. Again, no surprise. The best Best debut indie game, Balatro. Best independent game, Balatro. Why they're two separate categories, I don't know, but okay. Best community support went to Baldur's Gate 3. There's a lot of my friends in the FF14 standing there just like, oh, we should have won that. We should have won that. What did we do for half of 2024, FF14 fans? You know what we did for half the year? We complained and groaned that we have nothing to do because the previous expansion gave us nothing. Of course we didn't win. We have the very start of expansion that barely gave us anything, and the first half of the year was spent catching up on the nothing we had from Endwalker. The biggest no-brainer that 14 was going to win that. No, Baldur's Gate 3 won that. Not very surprising at all. Best ongoing game, Helldivers 2. Not surprising. They did incredibly well, and the reason FF14 didn't win that, again, I just said why. We had nothing, and the devs didn't listen. Surprise, surprise. Games for Impact went to no one, because I don't understand what the hell happened. Now, it went to Neva, but I don't know what this category is. So we're going to move on. Innovation for Accessibility went to Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. I completely missed this category, and I don't know why Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown won for improved accessibility. And as someone who is very interested in technology that opens up for more people. I am very curious as to what they did. It might have just been difficulty options. That might actually just be it. It might not be anything like really, really interesting for letting people who are disabled play, but I digress. Best performance went to Melina. I cannot pronounce your last name, so I'm not going to try, from Hellblade 2. Not too surprising, not gonna lie. Best audio design went to Suina's Saga Hellblade 2. Best music and score went to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Best art direction went to Metaphor ReFantazio. Best narrative went to Metaphor ReFantazio. Best game direction went to Astrobot. Game of the year. Some people are really, really salty about this. Game of the year went to Astrobot. And I'll admit, when this first came up, I kind of dismissed Astrobot. Because Astrobot to me was just like, oh, it's just another like cutesy little platformer. Oh, it's just a little thing. Oh, it's a little demo game made for the PS4 or PS5. Oh, it's cute, whatever. To me, it was just like a whatever game, because I'm way too used to Nintendo putting out these kind of whatever games that don't amount to like anything. Those who are like frequent on the Nintendo platform, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The like lesser Mario games that launch, they're just like, oh yeah, it's kind of like the classics, but it's just kind of meh. It's whatever. Oh yeah, it looks kind of cute. It's eh. Oh look, another tennis game. It's whatever. Ooh, 1-2 Switch. It whatever. Like that's what Astrobot came off to me as. After Astrobot won Game of the Year, and I originally said on the stream, I actively said I didn't think Astrobot deserved to win. After the stream, I looked up more into it, because the actual acceptance speech of the award from the Astrobot devs was curious, because he painted out a huge homage to not only the history of Sony that inspired him to go make this game, but also to the OGs at Nintendo that also helped inspire this game. You might think Astrobot is just like, oh, it's a cutesy little platformer. You know what Astrobot really is? It's not just a platformer. It is a massive love letter to the history of the PlayStation. That's what the game is. 100%. That's what Astrobot is. Knowing this, I'm not going to lie, there was no way anyone else was going to win, knowing that's what Astrobot was. There was no way Black Myth Wukong was going to win, being a slightly above average action RPG, but with, a story told directly from Japan based on an old Chinese fairy tale. Or I said straight from Japan, straight from China, based on a Chinese fairy tale, Journey to the West. And it does tell it very well. For what Black Myth Wukong is, it's really good, but it is, when all is said and done, just a fairly above average action RPG. Shadow of the Erd Tree from Elden Ring, it's a good piece of DLC and a very big, thick piece of DLC. It is almost a game in its own right, but it is still DLC. It pretty much had no chance, almost based on that alone. Balatro, although a very addictive indie game, it is, by definition, a pretty simple game. There's a lot of depths and nuances in Balatro in the way it operates. It's very easy for anyone who has a basic understanding of poker-based card games to pick up and play. But it is a very simple game when push comes to shove. Is it a good game? Yes. Is it addictive? Oh yeah. Is it Game of the Year? No, it is not. But it is a lot of fun. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Well, I'll be honest. These FF7 remake games, none of them have a chance of being Game of the Year, because when push comes to shove, they are part of a whole game. You may not want to hear it as an FF fan, but it is what it is. Does it have the content of a whole game? Yes, absolutely, 100%. But it still has this weird air in the air, where in fact we already know it's part of a bigger story. The only one that has a chance of winning Game of the Year, honestly, when it comes to the FF7 remake games, it's going to be the last one, because then it's going to be judged as the conclusion of it all. And Metaphor ReFantazio, yeah, the unfortunate world is that it's going to be very difficult for a JRPG, which unfortunately, as much as we don't want to admit it, is a fairly small section of the gaming pie, to win Game of the Year. The fact that it even got nominated is kind of shocking in and of itself. There was just no way that many people were going to look at Metaphor ReFantazio and say that, oh yeah, that is the game that every single Call of Duty player should play. Because let's be honest, Atlas is very unapologetic in the way they do things. And it is very much you have to be committed to that kind of game to get into it. But if you are, you're going to have a ton of fun. For sure, you're going to have a ton of fun. You are going to enjoy the heck out of it. And when you look at all that, there's no way Astrobot wasn't going to win. There's no way. That being said, though, holy cow. If Balatro won, if the indie card game beat out Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, and all the other ones, I would be laughing. I would be laughing out of my chair that the frickin' one-man team beat some of the biggest AAA studios out there. Oh man, that would have been hilarious. That would have been amazing. Now, at the same time, though, the makers of, I want to make sure is this actually the makers of Black Myth Wukong? Yes, it is. Want to make sure I actually had that right before I went in this. The maker of Black Myth Wukong, their game director, has in fact said that they were so ready they already wrote out an acceptance speech for Black Myth Wukong and absolutely criticized the Game Awards for not having Black Myth Wukong win out. And he felt like he came there for nothing. And in fact, professional CSGO player or professional dingus Shroud also said that Black Myth Wukong got snubbed at the Game Awards this year. Yeah. Just look, you did go to Black Myth Wukong, all right? It's a good game. But like I said, it's not the best game. It is not Game of the Year game. But when push comes to shove, you did good. But it just wasn't their year. I have one last thing to talk about for the Game Awards. I did mention there's another Elden Ring DLC coming out for next year. Is this going to be a trend for like the next 5 Game Awards? That FromSoft is just going to make more and more DLC for Elden Ring, just to have Elden Ring get another Game of the Year award in hopes that one of the DLCs just lands on a year that it doesn't have much competition. Because like, look, I have respect for I have respect for FromSoft, all right? They do a good job at doing what they do, but what they do is just not for me. It just isn't. But holy smokes, it feels weird if I'm going to have to go through, if I end up having to, when the next FF14 expansion comes out and the expansion gets delayed by another week, and our game director Yoshi P goes out and says Elden Ring DLC and says he'll give us 1 week to complete it before having to come back to FF14. That's gonna be wild. And finally, I bring you to the last story they do, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, you should stop hiring humans. You should immediately stop hiring humans. That is the actual ad campaign for a product out there, is that you should stop hiring humans. This dystopian billboard campaign is from an AI firm known as Artisan. that is trying to say that their AI powered sales representatives do a far better job than people, and you should just not hire people anymore. Just hire artisan. You thought you had a couple of weeks before the cyberpunk dystopia caved in to your gaming world. I'm sorry, your business world. Nope. It's here now. It's all here, and it's all coming out for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the company that, kind of ironically, might have one of the worst ad campaigns out there, and their whole thing is trying to get you to hire them to do your next ad campaign. I wonder if they noticed the irony in their little maneuver here. Folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening, and I do encourage you to check out my other works, twitch.tv/EagleFalcon and youtube.com/EagleFalcon. Take care, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. You know, someone in the chat said that the AI sales reps probably cost more than Indian telemarketers. And now I gotta ask, what would have a higher rate of success? The Indian telemarketers that pretty much because of the sheer volume of scams also conducted from India, you most likely would just hang up the instant you hear the accent, unfortunately. Or the robo voice going, "Hello, we would like to contact you about your car. We have a new service for it," and or whatever they'd actually be trying to sell. Like, which one is going to have more success? I actually legitimately wonder. Like, the number is going to be low. Don't get me wrong. People in chat are already saying neither. Like, it's going to be low. It's going to be a low success rate. But I gotta wonder, who would win? Like, what would win out? What would be the better advertising dollar? Man, this might be the most dystopian thought I ever had. I'm gonna go, I don't know, eat ice cream or something. Is the ice cream AI generated yet? God, I hope not.